on Tuesday, we saw the announcement by the Police Commissioner to establish a new national gang unit to target crime, harm and intimidation caused by patched members. If you remember back, I had a chat to the Police Minister, Mark Mitchell, about it. And while the question has been raised, do we have enough resources to achieve it, across the ditch, Australia has launched a new campaign to poach some of our best in blue. When Sydney's top cop Karen Webb stepped up to the microphone at a media conference yesterday morning, she spoke directly to Kiwis, saying if you are a police officer or in another jurisdiction in Australia or in New Zealand at senior constable level, join the New South Wales Police Force. We pay well and we're attractive. Not like attractive? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, we're good looking. I think she meant attractive packages that come along with it. Or they are good looking. So far, Australia's recruitment drive is working, according to Chris Cahill from the New Zealand Police Association, and he joins me now. Hello, Chris.
Good evening, Leah.
Are we not attractive enough here? Is that the problem?
I think we're better looking than most Australians, if you ask me.
Thank you. I agree. Seriously, though, how many police have we lost to Australia so far?
Yeah, look, it's a little bit hard to get precise numbers, but it's certainly building. Look, we know that there's been at least 50 go to Queensland. Well, the latest figures I've got from them is there's another 172 in their pipeline. Now, whether they all go through is, I can't say, but it's certainly numbers are building. Look, we lost 20 officers who resigned last week, not just to go to Aussie, but at least half of those appear to have gone to Aussie jurisdictions.
Oh, my gosh.
And so it's certainly getting more attractive all the time. And you had, this is just, New South Wales is just the latest queuing up for our men and women.
Because, I mean, Sydney, you got Western Australia, Queensland, and they've all been pushing since, a year ago or even longer. But like the likes of New South Wales, Chris, they offer things like lower age limits to their people to get in. There's incentives. What would you like to see here, New Zealand? I mean, what can we at least incentivise our police with?
Look, I think the biggest difference we can make is changing our remuneration structure so that it doesn't take 21 years for a constable to get to the maximise their earnings. So just to give you an idea, constable graduates today start on around, and these figures I use include all their superannuation as well, remember, on about, once they get out of college, about 75,000. It'll take them 21 years to get to about 105,000. A nurse or a teacher, pretty much starting on very similar money, they get to the 105,000 mark, and you're talking 1,000 either way here, in about 6 to 7 years. So that's the biggest difference. So what's happened is cops are joining, they're enjoying the job, but then they're realising they're just not getting ahead after 3, 4, 5 years. They've hardly had a pay rise, and they've seen their friends or their whānau who are doing teaching or nursing professions have gone well ahead of them. So that's the biggest change we could make, I think, to try and keep the people that we've recruited.
I mean, to wait 21 years for a 30,000 pay jump is phenomenal. That is so... I can't believe I had no idea they have to wait that long, yet, as you pointed out, 6 to 7 for nurses or teachers. So that would be obviously a great incentive to bring that down. And because the Prime Minister has said that the government can't match Australia's pay offer, so that could be something. How are the pay negotiations moving along, Chris?
Well, we're into this final offer arbitration process now. We've got a few weeks before we head off to that. We're all in the middle of putting written submissions in and getting some expert evidence for both sides. So that's a process we've got to go through now. But the problem with that process, and this isn't a dig at police or anything, it'll never be a process we can resolve the big remuneration structure, and there's too much money involved. That has to be government coming on board with police and accepting that, we need to change the way the pay is calculated. But look, there's some things in there that both sides have agreed with around paid overtime, which will be helpful. Currently police officers don't get paid overtime. Nurses do, fireys do. Every Aussie, police force gets paid overtime. So that will be a help when we resolve that. And we're really just disputing when it should start. But that's sort of a side issue to the bigger bigger dispute.
Now that I've got you, can I get your thoughts on the announcement of the new gang unit? I mean, that, you know, I've read reports and I can understand it, that it will put extra pressure on police. I asked Mark Mitchell on Tuesday if there was a budget for it, you know, what it would cost, and I didn't get anything from that. Have the police themselves bought into it? I mean, if they come along with this journey?
Well, it depends who you talk to, probably. Look, firstly, I'd say, in principle, we like the idea. I think most cops will say that the gangs haven't been policed hard enough. And look, what we do, I've probably worked, most of my career was spent in organised crime. So I've done exactly what these groups are going to do. We ran some operations when I was in Hawke's Bay, Operation Taxman, we called it, which we just got a whole group together. And for months on end, we targeted gangs across all things. Traffic offending, IRD, benefit fraud, misuse of housing corp houses, and normal offending, and really put pressure on them. And it's happened in other places. But equally, what we do really well in New Zealand, we target the top end international drug dealers. We probably, box above our weight in that area. But we've neglected that other area of gangs that are that visible gang presence in districts. So I think going back to those groups I sort of talked about earlier, I think that's a real good idea. The problem is if it doesn't come with extra resources and extra budget, how's it going to be successful? Or what are we going to stop doing so we can do that?